Good afternoon. We wanted to invite the patient panel to share some of their thoughts with you and field a few questions. And the patient panels, you can start walking up. We would like to welcome the following participants in our panel today. As earlier, you have heard from Myrtle Williams, a patient with chronic pain and fibromyalgia, and Portia Hall, a patient with sickle cell disease. Now I would like you to meet Leonard Scooter Williams. He is in the 10th grade. He loves going to school. His travels include a trip to Barbados in 2011 to visit family. And last year, he went on a cruise on the Carnival Cruise Line. Leonard's greatest wish is to have pain-free days. Next, please meet Gloria Adewachu. Gloria is a Christian and has a passion for helping others. She just completed a photo shoot, and you can also check out her song, Here We Are, on YouTube. Scooter and Gloria both live with chronic pain from sickle cell disease daily.
Okay, so I'm just going to open it up and ask the patients just a few questions, and then I'll open it up to the audience to ask them questions as well. So I just want to throw out the question of just in general, how has pain affected your lives? And anyone can just jump in and write it.
Hi, my name is Gloria Adewachu. Pain has been a big part of my life for a very long time. I can remember growing up. I don't remember, well, my parents said I was diagnosed like maybe at 1 or maybe younger, because they didn't know why I was crying all night as a baby, and they were trying to figure out what was going on with me, and I cried, I was in pain, obviously, and they finally took me to the hospital, and I was diagnosed with sickle cell. And by the way, I was born in Nigeria, and I lived in Nigeria from the ages of 1 to 12. And then I came to America. So it's been from a young age. I can remember in Nigeria going through serious crisis, pain. And I mean serious that I could have been dead by now, because it just wasn't that medical structure there than there is here. I can remember being in crisis for 2 weeks. Normally here, it's like maybe a couple of days. You know, the most, at least I've been in crisis here, maybe a week, and and some other days. But I can remember being in crisis for 2 weeks, being at home, in that crisis, and not really having, all my parents could do was give me the regular pain medicine that they could get in Nigeria, and pray for me. And I mean pray. Like, we would have a lot of prayer warriors from church come and constantly pray for me, because I would be so sick to the point where my belly would swell, and it was just terrible. And normally, whenever the crisis came to an end, I would throw up really bad. It would be like a violent, vomit. I would just throw up bile and everything, and then all of a sudden I'm better. And that's how I dealt with it from the ages 1 to 12, and then I came here, and it got better. I met Dr. Rana. But yeah, pain has been, it has affected my life in a lot of ways, but it hasn't affected me to the point where I don't have any hope. I just see it as something that I have to overcome. I know I went away to college in North Carolina. My parents didn't want me to go away. They wanted me to stay here, or stay in the DMV area because I would be close, but I just wanted to go. So I went away, and it affected me. I at least I know I would go into crisis like at the end of every semester. At the end of every semester, during finals, I was hospitalized. But I thank God because I had a nice, my department, they would really, you know, they worked with me. Sometimes every students would be gone, professors would be gone, but all my department professors would wait for me to come back and I'll take all my finals. So that's how I got through college. And just so many things I want to do. Sometimes it's at the moment when I want to do it that I get into a crisis, you know. So you said how has it affected? It's affected a lot, but you know, it's not affecting me to the point where I don't have hope or I can't function because I've pretty much lived a normal life and done a lot of things that a lot of people haven't done. So, yeah.
And could get your word too.
Yeah, and if you want to.
Okay, well, the pain, can everyone hear me? The pain has affected me in several ways. Sometimes when I couldn't even get out of bed. And as far as work, I couldn't perform my job duties. I became depressed because I couldn't do certain things. I actually, at one time, I felt like just giving up. I did, because the pain was just so bad. But since I've worked with it and I've found different ways to make me feel better. And like I said before, the massages and I forced myself to exercise, things like that. It's made my pain better, and I do pray a lot. As far as the education, it really did not prevent me from getting an education. In fact, it helped because I kept trying to go into different areas that I could work with my pain. So I did a lot of things, and so in a way I am a little bit angry because of the pain, but then I'm thankful in another way because of the pain, because it does have its positive aspects.
I think I'm paying for that. It's fine.
Okay.
Pain has affected me in a lot of ways because with me being so young and with me wanting to play sports and going through school and like now I've been getting sick lately and my grades have been going down and it's just hard to keep up with being in the hospital and my schoolwork. But thank God for Dr. Roland, Dr. Bradley, and my doctor from Children's over there. They have helped me a lot, and I just wouldn't be able to do without them.
Okay. And then I just want to throw out there, like, how often have you been mistaken for drug seeking or not in pain? And what suggestions would you give to like the providers out there?
For me, I think I kind of had an easy bit, so I was a pharmacy technician. So whenever I did have pain medication, I always would go back to the pharmacy I used to work at, and my brother is also a pharmacy supervisor. So I would always be good with getting my medication. As far as the hospital, for some reason I never had problems with them giving me pain, so pain medicine. So yeah, other than that, I've never been looked at as one who is trying to use it.
I have, because I have not recently, but a couple months ago, I had went into a pain crisis, and for many of you who don't know, they closed the ward upstairs on the 6th floor, so it forced me out of here from Howard to seek another hospital, and I had went to Children's, and when they admitted me there, they weren't giving me the pain medicine that the amount of pain medicine that they were giving me at here, and the doctors would like come in, and one minute I could be fine because the pain medicine had worked a little bit, and then another minute when they came in, I would be in excruciating pain, and they were like, "You were just fine a couple minutes ago, and now you're in pain," so they wouldn't give me the right amount of pain medicine. So, like, I really felt like I was being looked at as a drug addict, and for me being so young, like, it hurt me because, like, no one would believe me that I was in the amount of pain that I was in, and it made me feel some type of way.
Are there any like suggestions that you would have for like providers that are treating you with pain, or?
Well, I think that the doctors should at least determine what's causing your pain, and if this access the pain, and not to give out narcotics so readily. Yeah, I know there are people that abuse narcotics, and I'm not really one for pain medication, but I do take it when I'm really, really in pain. And there are other ways that you can treat pain, besides giving out the pain narcotics. When I had my hip surgery, and I was on a lot of pain medication, and I was really in pain, and I felt that I needed it. I needed that medication. And when I tried to wean myself off of it, I found that I had become addicted to it. So I had called one of my friends, and I asked them about it. I said, "Oh my God, I don't know what's going on with me. I'm trying to get off this medication, and I'm so nervous, and I'm jittery, and I have diarrhea," and I was just going through all of these things. And they said, "You know what? You're just having withdrawals. Just take another pill." And right then I said, "No, I am not going to take another pill. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to go through this." And once I got through that, I think in about 3 or 4 days, I was better. And that's the reason why I'm like so much against narcotic medication today. And I just do other alternative things to control my pain.
Okay, so, I guess following up after Myrtle, it's a little bit different for different people, depending on the kind of pain you're in. A lot of people cannot, I can speak for myself, sickle cell. If I'm in a pain crisis, I cannot do anything alternative because I may die, because of that pain. So, depends on who the person is. I would say that I'm not gonna ask for pain medicine if I don't need it, and that it's a person by person basis. I'm not gonna ask for it if I don't need it. I know that I've been in crisis without medicine before, and it's not good. Like at that moment, I actually just want to die. It's better off than just being in that pain. I just want an end to it, even if it's like 5 seconds, help me. And that's what sometimes, I remember one of my worst admissions ever, I was in the emergency room screaming, "Somebody help me," because that's what was happening to me, I just needed help. So for some people, of course, there's people that are going through and, having drug seeking issues and all of that. But coming from me, if I need pain medicine, I'm not just saying I need it because I've been without pain medicine. I've actually gone through pain without pain medicine, and it's next to dying. It's really, especially with sickle cell crisis. So I'm kind of emotional about that. I actually once said, "Thank God for pain medicine. Thank God for the people that made whatever it is," because that moment, that medicine calms me down is better than the 30 minutes or the 2 minutes of me in excruciating pain. So it just depends on who you are. I know that I thank God for pain medicine, and it's a person by person thing. Some people can do other things to be free. But if I'm in excruciating pain at that moment, crying and screaming and rolling on the floor, and you can't find my veins, and so many things are going on, it's next to dying, honestly. So.
And I'm sorry.
Oh, can I just say
Yeah.
something? I didn't mean that, I know that everybody's different and the pain levels are different. So I didn't mean any harm by saying that was just my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what support system, if any, has helped influence your life?
Well, I have my husband sitting over there as my support system. And he's actually had to just roll me over the bed and just to help me crawl up the step. So he's really my support system. And also my masseuse, and the aquafit physical therapist, and also my physicians.
My biggest support system is probably at first would be at home would be my fiance, of course, who's in the back as well. And then my second home, which is my job. I feel like they support me the most. My doctor, my family advocate, Ms. Gibson, from all the staff who supports me and understands my pains. And then growing up, I would say that my biggest was my siblings. I remember crying at night and just them up the bunk bed for me, asking me do I need anything, and just always being there, whether it was to get my medicine, give me some water. And still to this day, whenever I'm hospitalized, they always there. They're here today too as well. So yeah, my siblings, and then of course my parents, my mother, my father was at work right now, but my mother's here as well.
My biggest support system, I have to say, is my family. I don't think I would be sitting on the stage without my family, my mother especially, my doctors, and for them to give me, I have Dr. Roland's personal cell phone number, and I worry him out to death, and I know if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am now.
And so I would like to ask if the audience have any questions for any of our patients, if they want to.
I have a question, but it's not only for, it's a two-part question. And I think I have the ideal setup for the question. It's about genetic engineering. It's a term that we don't like. So we have genetically modified. We have experts in this room. Some have read their papers, or Roland's paper. There are many attempts to prolong this fetal hemoglobin, or at least to increase its existence and so on. Is there any work going on to find out those that maintain a higher level versus those who have lower level? Or in this age of manipulations, can we genetically modify this fetal hemoglobin so that we stay around a little bit longer for the benefit of a subset of patients who begin to have pain from the beginning of their life almost towards the end? The lay public does not like the word genetic manipulation so modified. It would even eat fruits that are done that way. But I think if we pull this fetal hemoglobin to stay along for a longer time, or we look at those patients who have had theirs in higher concentration. But Ghana's work obviously very obvious in this area of the standard use of medications. Can we genetically modify this fetal hemoglobin? Is there any work being done on it to find out those patients who have it longer? So that we can actually put it to stay around for a longer time, because it's obviously present in adults. There are a lot of us lose it as soon as we cannot do what. And for the audience over there, based on your experience, they're all of child-producing age, young men, maybe not for their own children, but if this scientific discovery were around, you allow your newborn baby to anybody to have a modified organ, they don't have to go through all of this that you've gone through. So for my expert physicians, is there any work going on in genetic modification? Who was it?
I'm going to let Jim answer that.
Well, I guess your question is, are there attempts being made to genetically modify patients who have sickle cell disease so that, they, for example, their fetal hemoglobin might last longer? So I guess the answer is yes, that there's a lot of experimental work going on in vitro to try and find ways to correct the genetic mutation that causes the sickle cell disease. I would say, from my standpoint, bone marrow transplant is a form of genetic, you're basically doing some genetic engineering. You're giving the correct sequence to the bone marrow cells so they make the right types of cells. So that's with us now. It's an option. I don't know whether anybody has considered that as a therapeutic option, but it's becoming a more viable type of thing to do. And then, even using hydroxyurea was an attempt to trick the body into making more fetal hemoglobin. So we thought of that as a way of doing gene therapy. Turns out it's not doing it by affecting the gene directly. It does something to the cell once it's already developed. And I think we need multi-pronged approaches. I think it would be a mistake to rely entirely upon the hope that we're going to be able to genetically engineer everybody. We still got to be looking for small molecules that modify the sickle hemoglobin. We've got to get bone marrow transplant perfected. And then we have to figure out a way to actually go in and change the gene, which will happen sometime in the future, but I don't know whether it's going to be 10 years or 100 years. Does that answer your question?
Yes, because like I said, physicians are trying their best to use the medication to do that. And I recognize Dr. Roland's recent paper on that, which involves so many institutions. But you are just saying at the gene level, and of course, people don't really like to hear about those type of modifications. So I was asking now.
I think, did you want to say?
I mean, at a point, I considered bone marrow transplant. Like, I researched about it, and I saw some doctors about it. But I mean, there's a lot that went into that, and I just kind of, I don't know. I didn't push too much, but I was actually really serious about it. I went to George Washington, I've seen some doctors about it just to find out more. And it has worked, but there are a lot of risks and stuff. So I don't know if I'm really ready for the risk. You were asking about
I think Johns Hopkins reported a paper some years ago of a patient who was virtually cured.
Yeah.
Remember the details of that study?
So,
because I read it from a layman's journal.
So the exciting development, it's part of the problem with transplant is we can only transplant a few percent of people if we have to have a matched donor. Most people don't have a matched donor. So there's work going on now where you can actually use a parent or use a sibling. And that shows a tremendous amount of promise. The problem with it is it works about 50 to 60% of the time in children, a little bit better in adults, or something about 70%. So if you can deal with the fact it doesn't work a third of the time, it's a viable thing to do. But it's not a walk in the park. And like you said, the side effects you have to seriously consider. But if somebody has a bad quality of life because of the sickle cell disease, it's something you really should talk about and learn about. And the good news is the technology gets better every few years. So what we recommend to our patients is keep yourself in the best shape you can. Use disease-modifying therapy like hydroxyurea to try and keep yourself healthy, and then wait for the technology to get better. And then when you get to the point that you really feel you need an intervention, consider everything, including the bone marrow transplant as a way to improve things.
How about stem cell research?
There's a lot of stem cell research going on. I think everybody working with stem cells realizes that sickle cell disease is a really good target. The people in Boston are actually trying to silence a gene that suppresses fetal hemoglobin, to get back to your original. So if you could trick the body into making more fetal hemoglobin genetically, that would work as well. We're interested in small molecules that would actually make this, make the sickle hemoglobin not sickle. But, it's very early work, but we've got molecules that will prevent the polymerization of the hemoglobin, which is what causes the problem. So I think we don't know where the breakthroughs will come. So, really what this boils down to is we need lots of research. We need people taking different approaches, because even though one approach sounds great, it may not be the one where the breakthrough comes. So it may be genetic engineering, it may turn out as a drug. That, the right small molecule, if you could just keep the hemoglobin. The only problem with sickle cell disease is the hemoglobin polymerizes. If you can stop the polymerization, you can cure the disease. So, I think what we should be doing is, as a community, trying to get as much research done to keep our, government, the NIH, everybody else interested in sickle cell disease, to keep advocating, and making sure that everybody's working as hard as they can to try and cure this disease.
Wouldn't it be more reasonable to start at the infant stage? You're looking at newborns where the immune system is not that bad, and therefore replacement and doing any type of genetic intervention, would take place rather early rather than wait till an adult and then try to do bone marrow transplant.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying is like bone marrow transplant in utero would be ideal. And we all agree, and that's actually been tried in other diseases. The technology is just not quite ready for prime time. If it were, that might be a very good way to approach this for many people, is try and cure the disease before it has a chance to cause this shit. It's theoretically very appealing, but unfortunately nobody knows how to transplant an infant and do it without causing harm. That's always a problem.
But if I could add something, thank you, Jim, for, just looking at our patients who we started treating in infancy with hydroxyurea and following them over 8 to 10 years now, where people are taking the medication, it is unbelievable how little problems they have overall. I think we need some genetic engineering to make people take this medication. Because adherence is, I'm not pointing any fingers, but if you could make people take hydroxyurea, I think it would make a big difference. Right now, only about 40% of patients take about half the medicine. That's about, maybe I'm exaggerating. We don't have exact handle, but hydroxyurea alone. And Jim is absolutely right. If we could have a few other agents, maybe simple things like antiplatelet agents, a few other things. I think combination therapy would make a big difference down the road in the outcome of patients, at least from the pain and chronic pain perspective. Because so many patients, like good glory, had so much pain so early that you damage so much bones and you damage and inflame nerves that probably some of those nerves never heal.
The other thing we didn't talk about is that we have patients, unfortunately, who have strokes when they're little, and we put them on transfusions. And if the stroke isn't a bad stroke, some of those children, when they're 20, look like anybody else. They look wonderful. They might have yellow eyes. And, I sometimes take the medical students in the room and say, can you tell what this patient has? And, they really can't tell the patient has sickle cell disease because they look so normal from having been transfused their whole life. So it's another therapeutic option. Sometimes I wonder why we don't use it more. And, the SID trial just showed that there's an awful lot of benefit to being on transfusion, both in terms of preventing strokes, protecting the brain, and all the other complications of sickle cell disease were much lower in those patients who are on the transfusion. So, if you have sickle cell, you're having a bad time, you don't want to go as far as a transplant, you can't tolerate hydroxyurea, it's another option.
make one comment.
Oh, yeah.
But could I ask how many of you take hydroxyurea and why?
Okay, kind of.
Yeah. So you're all taking it. That's music our ears.
Yeah.
Do you ever forget to take your dose of hydroxyurea?
Yeah.
If you had a preparation that you only had to take it fewer times a day or once a week or once a month, would that help? Yeah. Because that's the other thing you think about, can we get preparations
So
that could have, is not putting such a burden on remembering to take the pill every, come in every time today, you have to take it.
So what's the downside of the hydroxyurea? Why, given this kind of pain, why not take
we are not made to take pills. I mean, that's the honest truth. There are people who take pills like me, and there are people who don't take pills. And most of the people, getting them to swallow pills is a very difficult task. No matter how much time you spend counseling, listening, some people just would not take medication. And others, their brains are almost engineered to take medication for an acute problem, but not this idea of taking it every day is very foreign to many human beings. We're just not engineered that way.
Well, so I remember when I was a medical student that we were taught, I think it's still true, if somebody has rheumatic fever, at least sickle cell disease, and you say you need to take penicillin every day, you've had rheumatic fever, and if you don't take it, you're going to die. About 45 to 55% of people take it. That's called lethal noncompliance. So I think if we think everybody is going to take hydroxyurea all the time, it's what Sohail's saying, is we're not engineered to take medicine every day.
And that's why if we start to do some drug development, one approach, because we're talking about multiple approaches here, is preparation, a transdermal, some type of implantable that could be a pellet. I mean, there's all kinds of things we should be thinking about. Like, we changed cancer pain management with long-acting opioids. And it's changed the frame. But that's because people had a really hard time. We all have trouble remembering to take it every so many hours. So if you only have to take it twice a day, it's a whole lot better than if you have to take it 8 times a day. So same thing with the AIDS research. So I think it's important for us to think about, can we reduce the behavioral burden of being adherent to the medication that, if it works.
The other problem with taking hydroxyurea, I think, is people will take a medicine more if they feel it makes them feel better. But all that happens when you take hydroxyurea is you don't have a painful crisis. So you don't know you didn't have that painful crisis. So to a certain extent, they're taking a medicine, and it's very hard to tell the benefit of what they're taking. Some people can tell, other people can't. So there's a lot of people who start taking it and say, well, this didn't do anything, and then they stop. Does it work for you? Do you think it works for you?
But for me, it's not so much of me it's not so much of me taking it, but like I've been on a lot of pills, and just the thought that goes through my mind of me taking so many pills, and I'm trying to, just the thought of me having to take so many pills, and sometimes I get to the point that where I just don't want to take it at all. And it's not so much of if I don't really care if it helps me or not, I just don't want to take any more pills.
Do you worry about the side effects of taking hydroxyurea? Is that in your mind at all?
I do. I worry about it in the long run because I've heard that, they say like when you get married or when you want to have kids, you have to stop. So I'm just like, if I have to stop then what's happening to me now is I'm taking them, But and that's another story. But I think for me, the problem that I have is just taking, like he said, it's just taking so many pills that, you know, I think I started having problems when my dose started climbing, you know, because I'm tall, I'm bigger than a child, you know, when I was a child I was taking 1, so it's easy to take 1. But then 2, I started taking 2, and then 4, and then it's kind of like, oh my God, this is just too much. So some days I just don't want to take 4. I don't want to take, it's just, I don't know, it's just, it's all, yeah. And I do worry about the side effect in the long run.
Last question.
Thank you.
I have a question. We're all educators, we teach medical students and all, but I think it's important to try to educate our future doctors coming along. What is it the things that you want to tell a doctor that you don't tell a doctor, and maybe those reasons? Because maybe if you could express, especially for you, Marianne, I mean, telling us that you don't want to take the medicine, sometimes it's a big story. Teenager, we don't make assumptions. But I think it's important to kind of express to us what are those things you want to tell us as physicians so that we can help you maybe improve your compliance or your outcomes.
I'm very open with my doctors because I feel as though if I don't tell them, then they can't help me. So while I keep something away from them that I think that they can help me.
Because for instance, if you were saying you were admitted to a different hospital and you know people here and you're coming in, so you have to now build a new relationship with providers. And they're going to make these quick assumptions about you. But we don't want that assumption because that assumption means that's going to affect your outcome. Because you're going to say, this doctor's not listening to me, and we're going to say, he's not compliant. How do we solve that? How can you, in this case, I'm trying to learn what's the best way or approach so that we can really, you know, unfortunately, most of us, no matter what, even if we don't think we have some prejudice, we do. We don't want to make those assumptions. That makes a big difference in your health. That's really what I'm asking.
That's my son. He's been to 2 hospitals, but all his doctors listen to him. If me as an advocate, because he's in so much pain, if I have a problem, I know which doctor to call, and I tell them right then, you call this doctor, and this doctor will tell you everything. I've been in Georgetown, we're at Georgetown now, I've been in Howard. I tell them, when he's in the emergency room here at Howard, I tell them to call Dr. Roland. When he's in pain, I tell them to call this lady right here, Miss Lee, Dr. Lee, Miss Lee, from children. So I'm at 4 hospitals. But as far as them, because he's a child, they don't, some hospitals don't listen. I'm not gonna say no names. But I'm at 4 hospitals. But as for him, he's very outspoken. Dr. Ron, Dr. Brass, all of them and know my son. We don't have no issue. But it is some kids that I've been there that cry for help and they don't listen. But it takes a village, and I have a village at every hospital that I go to. I'm sorry you can't really answer it, but for him, we don't have no issues. But sometimes it's hard, but it's the contact. You have to really, contact. He can't really answer it for you, but most of the time, only one time I had an incident, and I couldn't get to Dr. Ronald, but I got to Ms. Gibson, and she emailed Caroline and all of us. We have a village at every single hospital. Georgetown, so you call Dr. Ronald, you call children, you call Dr. Bradley, and we get, we don't have that problem. As far as taking the medicine with the hydroxyurea, my son takes 8 or 9 pills a day. 8 or 9 pills a day. 8 to 9 pills a day. And hydroxyurea, and he takes a break because he's tired of taking it. But it's a struggle, and it's a lot. But
How do you deal with, he wants to be like everybody.
He is. He does. If you look at him, you would think he's a normal child, but he's not a normal child.
Well, he is.
He is a normal, right, but to me, he's not because he cannot play football and all of that. Dr. Ron, Dr. Bradley encouraged him. but then he tries and he can't. It's a story. Everybody has a story. It's a long story. So I can tell you some stories. But he does the best he can.
But it sounds like he has a great.
He has a team, trust me, it takes a team to raise this child as far as his illness. And I can't complain, all of them work with me as far as a team, every single hospital.
So we're kind of at the end of our program, and I do want to thank our patients for giving their input. And Dr. Ron is just going to close out.
Well, I don't know what to say. I feel really very wonderful. I thought this was of the last 5 or 6 Roland B. Scott Symposium we have organized. I would just say what Dr. Castro just said, that this was the best. And I think it's the audience, it's the speakers, but I think we had outstanding speakers and we had outstanding audience and participation. But I think what really makes me difference as I was checking out the mark, it's the community. Their participation really is vital to the success of our conference. I thought this was very outstanding. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I learned a lot. All the speakers were outstanding, but especially you guys, you made me cry a few times. So thank you so much. So thank you all for being here, and see you soon.